Welcome to the Garden of Edun. Dami be asking the questions for the answers that you want to hear. All you gotta do is sit back, grab a chair, or listen up while you clean and cook. Take a leaf from the creative's book. These gems open your mind and your heart. Okay, the show's gonna start. Cheese! Welcome back to the Garden of Edun podcast where ideas grow. I'm your host, Dami. And today we are joined by Jade Carvalho. Jade, if you don't mind, could you please tell the viewers who you are, what you do, and what brings you to the podcast?
My name is Jade. I work as a personal trainer and a couple online things as well. I basically just work a lot with a couple of side hustles. I'm just in mic because I love a chit chat and delve into the brain.
Yeah, no, I love podcasts as well, and like the chinwag aspect, like just get all the things off your chest that you want to say. I feel like it's like a really good space to do that. And yeah, I'm gassed to have you on here, especially, you know, as your TikTok celebrity.
What about that?
I mean, that's how I came across your pages, you know. I think I was scrolling on the For You page, and I think I saw something like funny of yours. I'm trying to remember what it was. I think it was something to do with like form and gym stuff, where you were doing like a meme of like form versus something else.
I'm surprised you came across my TikTok, to be fair, because I don't really post on there at all anymore. So I'm always surprised when people find my TikTok, because I'm like, oh, I forgot about that.
Why did you stop posting on there?
So I had like a year gap, so I was posting very consistently for maybe it was like a year or so. No, it would have been way less than that. I don't know how long it was. But then I had a year gap where I didn't even open the app. I didn't even go on the For You page. I didn't even, every time, even if you sent me a TikTok, I wouldn't even go on the app. Like, I don't even want to see, because I found like it became this really toxic place in general, not just like for me, but I think like in general. Like, I think even some people can see it when they use TikTok. And I was not in a good place myself, so using it and then having that kind of negativity was just not helping me. So I was like, let me just not at all completely. So I just didn't even touch it. And then like a few months ago, I went on it a little bit here and there, but I still don't really use it that much for the same reasons, to be fair.
That's really interesting, because from the people that I speak to, a lot of them that use TikTok as a platform, or as like a main platform for them, they seem to think that it's the calmest place, or it's the place where there's more acceptance if it's not, you know, the picture perfect of Instagram, or like the well put together of a Twitter.
I think it depends who you follow as well, like, and what you see on your For You page, because I know some people who their For You page is just full of like football or stuff, where it's just like banter, or it's just full of like gaming, or so I guess it depends on who you follow, what kind of perspective you have on it. But personally for me, although it is very like on the facade is very accepting, I feel like maybe it's different when you're like a creator. I wouldn't really call myself that, but maybe it's different then. But some of the things I have seen or whatever on there is not as accepting as they make it out to be.
I guess maybe the algorithm just threw you into the toxic bubble, unfortunately.
Probably. And TikTok as an app itself, like the people who run it and the algorithm of TikTok is like completely like, am I allowed to swear on this? Like,
you can say whatever the fuck you want to say.
It's like completely fucked up in my opinion. And the people who like run loads of TikTok stuff they're just weird. Interesting.
I mean, we can get into that a bit more as we go through, because I got some questions, of course.
Of course.
But I guess the main thing I was going to was I saw your TikTok content, and then I went into your Insta page and I saw something which was really funny, which was like shit I don't want to fucking see in the gym to do with the was it Romanian deadlift? Was it that? No, it was another one.
Was it squats, maybe?
I think it was squats.
Yeah.
I just found that bare funny. And then I started looking at other content and I thought the way you mix, like, you're humorous. Well, would you call yourself humorous?
I don't really know. Maybe. I wouldn't really say I'm a comedian, but I like to make a joke of myself, and then that's kind of funny.
Yeah, I hear that. I hear that. And I saw that in your content and how you mixed it with your fitness stuff as well. So I thought, yeah, you'd be a good guest to have on the show. So
Thank you.
yeah. So I guess the first question to ask you is where was the point where you started, I guess, training and taking that side of your life seriously? And then also, when from that point did you find the confidence to start sharing your own journey and process? Because as you've probably seen, felt yourself, and as other people have experienced, it can be quite difficult to commit to saying, okay, I'm going to be this person now, and I'm going to start putting that out to the world. So if you could tell us how that was for you.
So training, like in the beginning, I basically have done dance for a long time. So I've danced like in high school, whatever, and then I went to the Brit school to train in dance. So obviously, like dance and fitness, they go hand in hand together. So I wanted to kind of like improve my fitness in general or what have you. And so I like used to do like home workouts and stuff to improve my dance. But I was getting like really into it, and you know, there's only so many stuff you can do in your room. So something that I used to know took me to the gym, and I literally was like, whoa, like this is so crazy. Like, because I just never been, I was like, I would have been 16 or 17. So I just wasn't, there was just so many men and all lifting really heavy weights, and I was just there like this little twig, like, oh my god, what the hell. So I was pretty overwhelmed, but the person who showed me, like, he took me through stuff and like made me feel like, okay, maybe I'm not so crazy to be here, I can be here, like I can do it. But it took me like a long time to get into it. Like I was going consistently when I started, but I did not know what I was doing. Like I was doing some whack stuff. I would go in the little room in the corner and like never go anywhere else. Like I remember the gym manager one time came and spoke to me, was like, oh, I see you in here every day but only in this room. And I was like, yeah, about that, I just get scared out there. So yeah, I did that for a while, and my form was shocking, and everything I was doing was shocking, and it was just all wrong.
How long was that going on for, would you say, that period of time?
Maybe like probably a solid like year of just doing like it slowly got better towards the end of this like year. But it was probably almost a good year of just me doing stuff that was pretty useless, and like I was making progress, but you know, nah.
It wasn't efficient.
I could have been doing much better with my time. And then I did another maybe like half year to year of like doing stuff which was pretty okay. Like it was okay. It was much better. And then there was a pandemic, so then we're in lockdown. But that was when I started getting really passionate about it, like feeling like I knew what I was doing, knew where I was going with it, like actually had goals. Like maybe like before the pandemic hit, I was like really like actually knew what I was doing. And that's when I started my like fitness account, mainly just because people would ask me what I was doing. My friends would be like, oh, how do I do this? Because they like, I basically, since I started, I've been to the gym every single day. So they're like, they knew I went, they were like, oh, well, how do I do this, how do I do that, blah blah blah. And I was like, well, I might as well just Instagram, and then I can just put it on there, and then if you want to know, you can just go and look at it. So that's what I did, and that's why I started that. I don't know if that really answers the question.
It did in a lot of ways. Like, it's very interesting to know that the pandemic is kind of gave you the kick up the butt to be like, right, I'm on this now. Because for a lot of people, that situation was a switch of fortunes. Made like a lot of people found a routine.
I think they either went the way which was like, oh, we'll fund this, or they went the way which was like, it made me more passionate, because it kind of made me realize that I cannot live without the gym. Like waking up and just being like, good morning, like isn't enough for me. Like I need to go and do something. And during the pandemic was when I got my personal trainer qualification, because I had the time and I had the money. So I was like, well, this is the perfect opportunity. Let me not waste it to get it done. So
yeah, I rate that, because you basically doubled down in the pandemic time, when to be honest, it is really easy to default into not finding I guess you'd call it what, discipline, and really like knuckling down, and understandably, of course, because it's a mad situation.
I would not judge anyone who like became a slug during lockdown, because it's so easily done. But by the end of lockdown, I've built like half a gym in my back garden and like started bringing clients. So I was like, come on guys, let's just get into it now.
Okay, so you were working with clients in that way, like outdoor and
I knew people like wanted to, they just were like, well, what's the point? All I've got is my room, blah blah. But if I offer you this, then you can't really say no. It's here. So
yeah. And you said which is also quite interesting, because for example, like my little sister actually makes quite a lot of content around health and fitness and nutrition. She's been really passionate about that for probably about 4 years. Sorry if I'm getting that wrong, sis, but I'm gonna guess it's around 4 years. And for her, when she started making content, she was doing it to keep herself accountable.
Yeah.
So interesting that for you it was because loads of people asking you questions, and I'm sure that multiplied as well once you started making content, and especially probably through TikTok, right? A lot of people asking questions about loads of different things.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people that have like fitness accounts because they want to keep themselves accountable, which is great. Like if that's what drives you, or that's what keeps you on track, then like that's amazing. But for me, like I don't really need that, doesn't, not in an ego way, but I don't really need that. Like I can keep myself accountable without that. And also at the point where I kind of felt like maybe I want to do personal training, and obviously I knew that if I built a good Instagram, that might help me in the future with like clients and stuff.
Wow, cool. That's it, because you're doing it. You're doing it. That's a big battle in and of itself.
Really. I'm living the dream.
So yeah, it's going on that point actually, because like for me, I guess similar to you, the pandemic kind of gave me a kick up the arse to really dive into podcasting and creating content through that way. And I guess for me, one of the things that I love is to talk to people in the creative industry and people who are creating content, just to find out how their journeys were, because I feel like you can learn a lot of lessons, explore some ideas, and even learn of new ways of thinking that people have, just because when you're locked in your own head, you think everyone is thinking the same way. But through having these conversations, you start to open up to more ideas. And sometimes, like even for me, I'll listen back to old podcasts and hear things that the guests have said, or I've said even, and been like, oh, I should take their advice, really, even though it's me. I should take their advice because they're spitting some good shit. And that's kind of the value that I get out of doing it, on a I guess on a selfish level. So for you, making like fitness content, what does it do for you on a personal level? Like what do you get from making it?
I'm honestly not really sure. I feel like for me it's mainly I get to just word vomit or like creatively vomit. Because like sometimes if I do a post that's just like a ramble about stuff, and it's like, oh, I get to just say how I feel, and like that might help someone. I just ramble this thing and it gets like it off my mind, because sometimes a client will ask a question and then I'll be like, I'll respond obviously, and I'll be thinking about it like, yeah, like there's more I could have said about that, and oh, maybe somebody else is thinking that question, so it like gets that kind of off of my chest if I get to do that. But in terms of like, because I post like workouts sometimes, like for me that doesn't really bring me anything besides being able to look back on like really old posts, like from when I started my account, and being like, oh, that form is dodgy, that's some good progress. Yeah, like being able to look back and be like, oh, that's where I started, or that's where I've come from, is I guess wholesome for myself to look at.
Yeah, there is something really valuable about documenting something, because I guess when you start, it doesn't seem that serious because you're at that place where you start, so it's like, oh yeah, I know I do that, yeah, I'm doing that. But if you continue, if you keep going with it, in a year, 2 years time, 3 years time, you go back to the start point and you're like, whoa, that's a whole different,
and sometimes
thing.
I do this with clients a lot. Sometimes you feel like you're not making progress, but that's why you take progress videos and pictures and stuff, so you can look back and be like, okay, yeah, just because I look the same as I did yesterday, but I don't look or feel the same or lifting the same as I did like 6 months ago. So
yeah, it helps as being a good reminder that something is happening, just not it's not going to be like a explosion of change. Yeah, it's quite a gradual process. Cool. So yeah, I guess going back to what I was saying about how I feel about podcasting and what it brings me, I feel like from the conversations I've had with other people, a lot of people say to me, oh, you know, sometimes, oh, Dami, I really like that podcast you did with so-and-so because I heard this thing and it did this for me, or, oh, I really like that podcast because, yeah, I want to do something like that. And now I'm feeling I feel the motivation now to step into doing the thing that I wanted to do. So in getting that kind of feedback, I've seen that there is some benefit and value to the podcast that I'm doing and putting out. So in terms of the content you're putting out, how do you feel it benefits your audience, and what kind of things do you do to make it beneficial? Like, do you have any like practices that you inject into what you're making?
Yeah, I feel like honestly, you could really say anything and somebody might find it helpful. Like you could just put anything and there'll be someone in the planet who's like, that's useful to me. That's how I feel anyways. And like, for example, the videos like the foot like squatting form and stuff, like I'll get messages after that being like, oh my god, I've been doing this wrong for so long, like that's so embarrassing or whatever. And it's like, oh well, I've just done like help someone in a way that I wish somebody had helped me in that first year where I did not know what I was doing. Because there's so much like content on Instagram, right? Like there's so much content from people who don't know what they're doing and people who do know what they're doing, and it's all just so if somebody's following me and getting advice from me who like is qualified and etc., that just feels like, okay, I'm helping someone in a way that I wish I could have been helped, and putting out actual knowledge that I know is correct. Yeah, I feel like anything I post is just mainly it's based off something that somebody's asked me, like in my DMs or clients asked me, then I know that it's going to be useful for someone, you know, if it's only the person that's DMing me, or if it's because 10 other people are thinking the same question. It's like what they say in like school, like always ask the question because somebody else is probably thinking it. If somebody's DM me a question, I'm sure at least 5 other people have thought about it as well. They're just too scared to DM me or just don't know how to ask. So yeah, that's what all my content is kind of based around.
Right, so you don't have a particular content plan where it's like, right, I'm gonna post legs this day, or I'm gonna do back this day, or
not really, because I feel like then I'm just posting what I want to post, and that's not really useful because, as we've seen, I don't post for me, I just post for who wants to view it. So if I'm like, oh, I feel like posting a leg day today, like, I mean, I can, but did anyone ask for that? Maybe not. It could still be useful, but there's 5 people in my DMs waiting with questions who I could make a whole post for them, and then that could be more helpful.
Yeah, and I guess they'll resonate with it more because it's like, this is what I asked for, and
yeah,
Jade's serving it up
about whatever that question was.
Yeah. So I'm guessing that's the same with because I saw you posted things about like supplements like creatine, I think protein as well. So with those came from people asking you what those were about.
Like people in my DMs asking about supplements and etc. And it's like people are always confused about that. So
yeah, very comprehensive, I have to say, by the way.
Thank you.
I actually saw another post on your Instagram where you were talking about why you think motivation doesn't exist. I'd like to just hear you like talk about that for a little bit. Why do you think that's the case?
So I haven't really spoken about this actually on like my social media because it's very hard to explain what I mean by that without rambling on for about 5 hours. So this is a perfect opportunity.
Go ahead, ramble on.
Yeah, how do I explain this? Every time I try to explain it, it just comes out all wrong, but I'll try my best. I don't think motivation is really a thing that exists in people, mainly because you either do something or you don't. So when I wake up and I brush my teeth, I've just done that. I don't feel motivated to brush my teeth. I mean, maybe some people do, but that's on you. I just wake up, brush my teeth. I have to meal prep because I don't have time to make dinner every time when I come home. I don't feel motivated to meal prep. I just meal prep because I know that I have to do it for this reason. Most people don't feel motivated to go to work, yet they still do it. They just go because they need the money and that's their job. And if they don't go, they're going to get fired. They still go. Are they demotivated? Maybe, but they've still gone. So are they motivated? No, because they don't really want to go. So what is that then? They've just gone. There's no motivation to go, or is there? I don't know. But
you could say that potentially they're motivated by the macro things in the background. Potentially, just
you could
throwing it out there, but
and people can be motivated by things. Like a lot of people are motivated by money or motivated by results or etc. But to say that my motivation is etc. for everything you do in life is just not realistic. Like the fact that you're going to feel motivated to work out and motivated to go to work and motivated to have a side hustle and motivated to be creative, and it's just not going to happen. You're never going to be motivated for every single thing that you want to do in life to feel your best. I agree that motivation can come out in a form, people are motivated by whatever, but in your general life, relying on motivation as an emotion is not going to work. It's just not going to get you places. It's like how I said in the post, discipline will get you further than motivation ever will. If you wake up needing motivation to do things, you will not get anywhere, because that's never going to happen. That day 9 to 5 you're going to feel motivated to do everything you want to do. So you have to tune into discipline and other things in you to continue your journey and get to the goal you want to get to, because even that thing that will motivate you, for example, people might be motivated by money, it's not going to always motivate you 24 hours a day. If I said to you at like 10, I've got an extra shift for you now, you're not always going to do it, even though you are driven by money. Right? So you're telling me you're motivated by money, but I'm not going to take this extra shift at 10 p.m. That's weird. So even though that's your motivation, it's not been enough, has it? So that drive and that discipline and stuff like that, you need more than motivation will ever get you anywhere. Yeah, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense, but
I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense to me. I think you explained it really well, especially the example of the extra shift, because I'm sure everyone's had that, and they're kind of like, I just want to go home, man. Even if it's double pay, I just want to go home. I'm tired of this place. Yeah.
Although that might be your motivation, it's not pulled you through this time. So is it really your motivation? It's hard to say.
Yeah, it's a very good point. And I think I've also heard in the past before, I think he's a guy who was in the US military, and he was describing how discipline is freedom, and through discipline you're free because you don't have to think about why you're doing something. It's just embedded into your schedule, and you don't have to question, am I not? It's just, I'm in, I'm doing it, and then it frees up your mind to not have to think about that. whilst also working towards, I guess, the macro thing that you have in mind. The only reason I had that question, I guess, is because obviously when you do something, there's that, you do get some kind of initial jolt that steers you in a direction. And I guess I would call that motivation. But I guess for you, you've learned that it doesn't exist for something which is, I guess, lasts a long time, is concrete. Is that what you learned through your fitness journey, or did you just was that just something you were rolling with before?
No, I think from fitness, I think originally that kind of thought came about when people used to ask me, because I've been going gym so consistently for X amount of time, people would be like, oh, how do you stay motivated? And I'm like, I don't know how to answer that, because like I just explained, I don't really feel like I need that drive. I just go every day. I just wake up and I go, there's no, oh God, I feel tired. I'm going to go, like that's going to happen. So yeah, I feel like people repetitively asking me that question, not that, I mean, it's fine. Like I don't mind people asking me it, but people kept, I'm thinking to myself, like, I don't really know if I have a motivation, like what is that? And then I started thinking, what even is motivation? And then I was like, doesn't even exist. And then existential crisis, and it doesn't. So
oh God, you went to existential crisis for motivation?
No, well, just like, oh God, like my head, I don't know, motivation, is that real? Like
yeah. Interesting. I usually get there through thinking about happiness and those kind of things, when you're like, wait, is there ever a fulfilling thing where I can just stay there and everything's homely and fulfilling? And then it's like, uh-oh.
Here we are.
What are we doing? What's going on?
Been there on that.
Too many times. Yeah. I think another one you probably thought about, free will and determinism. I guess that predeterminism even, I guess that fits into the motivation thing as well in some way.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I'm guessing that might be a question that annoys you the most that you get. Is there a question that annoys you the most that people ask you? Or maybe annoys is the wrong word, but to you, you're thinking, guys, come on, this should surely be obvious.
I honestly, I don't really think, I'm a very like calm person. Like you really can't make me angry. Like you can kill my dog and I'll be like, you know what, I understand. Like wow. I really okay, maybe not kill my dog, but you get what I'm saying. Kill my dog, I might get angry. But yeah, I'm very like level-headed. Like I really don't even feel anger or like annoyance. I think because I started off literally not knowing fuck all. If I then got annoyed to ask me things, it would be very hypocritical. I understand that people are asking me things are coming from the exact place that I came from, where it's just there's too much information out there from too many people who do know and don't know what they're talking about, that it's just too much. So any question I can totally understand anytime where it's coming from, because somebody said it out there, whether they're right or wrong, you've heard it from someone.
I guess that does make sense. And then they might question the stuff you're putting out, like, but hold on, I saw XYZ person say,
and I'd rather them just ask me and I can tell them the correct answer than spend all night wondering who's wrong and then going and picking the wrong way. Whereas they could just ask me and then I'll just non-judgmentally answer it.
How do you manage misinformation and those kind of things? Obviously, because it's so prevalent, how do you make sure that you're actually putting out the right stuff too? What are you doing to make sure you're up to speed with things?
It's a bit easier when you're like, you actually have a qualification, because then I haven't learned from, I mean, I've learned from doing it myself as well, but I've not just learned from Instagram, from my own working out. I've actually gone and got the qualification and know the information. But I'm very hot on fact checking. If I see something online, I'm like, okay, I've not heard that before. I won't just take it as gospel. Like I'll go and check my facts with like places that I know have like correct information, or like I'll ask my other PT friends like, oh, have you seen this kind of thing, do you agree with it, what's your thoughts? Because the thing is, you never know. Like, I'm not gonna ever know everything. Sometimes my form these days is still a bit whack. Sometimes I do some shit that's like that, like that, just because you're never gonna be perfect. And if you live in a mindset where you think you can't grow anymore, then well, you're not ever gonna grow anymore. Everyone, there's always branches that can fill on the tree. So if I hoard myself, then that would be wrong. So yeah, just learning from what I've learned from my qualification and other people, and just always fact checking my shit.
Yeah, that's important, because even with everything, I guess today, because of how easy it is to spread information, which is good because it means we can learn a lot more about things and each other than we ever could. But also it's easy then for things that aren't correct to spread. Like I was mentioning my sister earlier, one of the things she does, because she has a degree in chemistry. Oh, I can't forget. I was at that graduation, like cheering her on, like, come on to me. And I don't even know I think it was chemistry. So she, what she does when people ask her things about nutritional, she just does it anyway. She goes and finds like scientific papers and like reads them and breaks them down to form her opinions on things, because she's so scared of putting something out there which she doesn't fully believe in.
Anything I posted like fully researched and like fully understood by myself, to then, because then if somebody asks me a further question on it and I don't know the answer, that's just embarrassing. So whatever I post, I know. And if other people are posting things that, because I see a lot of on Instagram, and I'm like these famous Instagram girls, and I'm thinking, what is that squat form? But it's not my, I can't change the world by commenting, oh, you're shit at that. Like, that's just rude, unnecessary, and not going to change anything. Like, the best thing I can do is be a PT, which is what I'm doing, and educate my clients, to be able to educate people who's sitting there and commenting on every Instagram influencer like, oh, your back is broken, is just going to be useless. So
yeah. That's so bad, man. And you imagine if you were going around to all the fitness influencers pages, like mashing up their comments.
Like, it's just unnecessary. Like, it could be better. It's not going to change anything. Like, let's do their thing, and then
good old trolling, man. I bet you've seen a lot of it from what you were talking about with TikTok.
That troll central.
How, before you removed yourself from the platforms, how did you deal with that? Like, deal with the trolling initially?
Yeah, I didn't, to be fair, I didn't get loads. Like, my like following was pretty nice, which is good. But whenever anything went, like, I don't want to say viral, but like got more views than my average like following, that's when you'd see like random people commenting shit. But I think I got this from my dad. Shout out to my dad for this one. Is I just couldn't give a crap what anyone thinks. I just don't give a fuck, because you're saying this over online. You don't even know me. You've seen a 15-second video. It's not even like you've watched a YouTube video on me. Like, you saw 15 seconds of my 20-year life you've watched, and you've come up with this comment. Like, that's very embarrassing on you. There's no reflection on me, what you said. It's a reflection on you. And if I let that affect my day, that you said like 4 like harmful words to me, would be very embarrassing for me. Like that. I just, I couldn't give a crap. This is my life. Your comment on it from someone who I don't know merely just flies over my head. Honestly, like that. How could I let that affect my day? Like, you don't know me, I don't know you. Nice comment, dude, and I'll see you later. That's it.
Very that's a good philosophy to have.
I mean, you definitely did, or like a creator or whatever. Because if I let everything get to me, I'd probably be dead by now, because there are some very evil people on there. But you know, that's on them. That's not anything to do with me.
Yeah, I guess when you look at it more deeply as well, for someone to spend that time to do that, like we were just saying with the example of you like going around all the fitness influencers, like your form and shit, knowing that someone is doing that, if you really boil it down, it's something quite sad about that for them. Like, oh, you're doing that. That's really shit for you.
Honestly, you're just obsessed with me. That's what it is. That you're just clearly in love with me to be commenting this content on me. I mean, it must be that. I just usually reply with something really sarcastic or funny, and then it really pisses them off, and then it makes me laugh because they're annoyed now, and I didn't even do anything.
Oh, I think I saw something actually, like a back and forth you had with someone who commented on one of your pictures. I think it was a breast cancer awareness picture or something, and someone was trying to come at you, and then you were just like, yeah, and it was just bad.
I recall that because I was with my friend and I was like, oh my god, look what someone just commented, this is hilarious. Because like I could delete that comment and then nobody see it, or I could just let them embarrass themselves, and it's way funnier. So
it's funny.
And then your comment is just there and you just look like an idiot because it hasn't affected me. It's like, okay, now you're the so
yeah, you came out with the W there.
Here we are. I'm always a winner, can't lose. What can I say?
What other challenges do you face though, like with the things that you're doing? What other things are hurdles that you're having to overcome or had to overcome, just to help people listening?
I guess there's a lot. It kind of depends, like if you mean like creating in general. I'd say
balancing because obviously working out in and of itself is difficult, right? So combining that with recording that, making it digestible for the people watching as well, it's another added thing. So do any challenges, or what challenges for you arise from that dynamic?
I feel like the biggest kind of challenge around that kind of balance thing is finding time to not work, because I work so much that it's like I just always am doing something, and when I sit down it's like, but I could be filming something to do this, or I could be making this post to help someone, or I could be answering more DMs, or I could be doing this. I find it very hard to just sit down and just not do anything, because there's always something more I could be doing. Like I could be making a better plan for something. And when, not that social media is a job or whatever, when social media is part of your job or is your job or something like that, it's very hard to just be like, oh well, I'm just gonna go on my phone for a bit and relax, because part of my work is inside of my phone, so I can't just go on Instagram and just scrolling, because then I see something and it's like, oh that's inspired me to make this or whatever. So there's, everywhere I look there's like work. Like everywhere there's like, there's work here, work there, there's a job to be doing here. And I have this weird thing, I make all of my hobbies into a job. All of my friends will know this, that I make every hobby I've ever had is now a career. Because I just get really into things and then it's a job. So yeah, my biggest thing is just trying to actually like book in time that's not work, especially when you're like partially self-employed like I am. You kind of do your own schedule, right? So I see a gap in my schedule, I'm like, what can I fill it with? Like, how about you just leave it? How about you just have a day off? But finding that balance of like work and relaxation is hard sometimes.
That's a really good one, actually. That's a really good one. And as you were talking about that, it felt like you were speaking directly to me, because I do the exact same thing. I'm guessing you put pressure on yourself to do the most. And when you're not doing the most, it feels like you're doing nothing. And then that all just spirals. And then you're like, fuck, I should be doing more. And now I'm thinking about not doing more while not doing more.
Now I'm thinking I should be relaxing, but I'm not relaxing because I'm relaxing but thinking about the fact that I am relaxing, and it's too much. It's a harsh cycle.
Totally. Yeah, just booking in time to just say no. I'm gonna
Nothing.
have a solid. Yeah, I
It's
did that recently actually. Because I basically, like, my day job, I work in marketing, and I left my job a few weeks ago. And instead of jumping straight into starting a new job, I said, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna have a block period of time off where I force myself not to do
yeah.
anything creative, no work. So I had 2 weeks off in between, and I just chilled out. And afterwards, I felt it was like my brain just needed the
Yeah.
space to
You do.
live.
Your like body needs rest. Like we sleep 8 hours every night. Your brain needs rest too, and it's a bit harder like in a pandemic when we can't just be like, oh well, I'm gonna go on holiday for a week and take my break, because you can't do that. So it's, I feel like it's harder at the moment, but
yeah. Actually, funny point you that you brought up the pandemic, because I was going to ask you about competition, and let me put this into context. So for me, I'd started doing the podcast just before the pandemic, and then obviously I got into it a bit more once the pandemic hit and I had a bit more time, and I knew it was easier to orchestrate podcasts because people could just do it from home on Zoom. That was the norm, so it was good. It was beneficial that way because it was just easier. And obviously I noticed a lot of people did loads of things on Instagram, on TikTok, or whatever. But part of me, like the really competitive part of me, was like, when this pandemic is over and things start opening up again, I want all you fuckers who aren't really about it, go back out, do your stuff in the restaurants and the bars and stuff, and let the real ones keep doing their thing. Or that's what I had in my head anyway, as if I was like super consistent, which I'm not, but that's what I have in my head, or that's what I had in my head. So how do you like see competition within the fitness space, and like with this pandemic? Well, I don't want to say it's over because, you know, we thought it was over in September, and then that U-turn was mad. That U-turn was crazy. So if it is coming to an end and more people being out, how do you think that will impact you as a creator, and also your business as well as a personal trainer? What kind of things do you, how do you see the landscape really?
I don't really feel like my answer is going to be very interesting for this, because I don't really feel competitive about anything. I don't really ever like, even if it's like me and my friend are playing Twister, I'm like, you got it, girl, like you're gonna smash it, and she's like, we're up against each other, and I'm like, but you got it. I'm so like, I just want everyone to win. Like, I mean, obviously the people I like, I want everyone like around me and people who have good energy just to win. I want everyone to be winning. So I don't like, so much so that I don't feel competitive. Like I work, the gym that I work at has however many other PTs, and we all work in the same space. So in that sense, you know, you would think there's competition, you know, who's got this time, who's got that, whatever. But I don't think many people feel that way, and I definitely don't. Like, we're all together, we can work together to make things better rather than competing against each other. I don't see any of them as competition, because, well, they're all my friends, and also because I just don't feel that way about them. You know, we can all be winning together. We don't have to one person and everyone else fails. We can all just bring each other up. So whenever I'm like posting something or working on fitness stuff, like I don't see it as, oh God, well, I've got to do it much better than so and so's done it, because otherwise it's going to not be enough. If people want to see my content or work with me for whatever reason, then that's what they'll do. I don't need to force myself to be up here and everyone else down here. I just work at my own pace, do the best for me. The only competition is myself and the person I was yesterday and the day before that and the day before that. Like, I ain't in competition with nobody else. So yeah.
It's a powerful perspective to have. I have to admit, on a personal level, it's something I struggle with sometimes. It's easy to compare. So you do it at points. Yeah. But really, like, go on.
I would say I feel like to to thrive in the fitness industry, I guess be the word, and to not like beat yourself up about it, you have to learn to not compare yourself, because there's always going to be someone with a better physique, a better squat depth, a better numbers on their hip thrust. Like somebody's always going to be up there and you're going to be down here. So to every day the gym or go on social media and compare yourself is only going to make you feel more and more shit. So I feel like that's helped me get that mentality. I mean, obviously being competitive is great sometimes, and it's not like a toxic trait or anything, but I just tend to lock into that.
I'd hope it's not a toxic trait, because I don't see myself as a toxic person.
Definitely not. You can be too much of anything, right? But
and I want other people to win. I just want to win too. And it's nice to make a sport out of things too. But on your point about comparing to others, have you ever taken inspiration from others, or is that something that you also don't do either? So you don't do either the comparison or inspiration?
I definitely take inspiration. There's like a few people who I follow on social media who are like fitness people. I see their stuff and I'm like, wow, that's like such a cool idea, or I love the way they laid out this, or the way they explained so and so. And you know, there's no harm in taking that into your own life, as long as you don't, copyright anyone. But yeah, to take info from people is great. If they've got a great idea, well, let's share it, and then everyone can have a great idea. So definitely inspiration from the right people.
Who would you say, is there anyone in particular, or is it just if and when?
I don't follow like that many fitness people. So yeah, kind of more like just explore pages and stuff like that.
Understood. How do you manage any self-doubt that arises? Because we were just talking about obviously how things spiral into the existential crisis, so everyone has to face up with the self-doubt. I think though what's the true merit of how people come up against it is how they can keep putting themselves out there regardless. It shows that they're able to face off with it, I guess, healthily, in some way. So for you, how do you do that?
Yeah, I feel like this kind of links to the motivation thing, because in the same way that you're not every day going to feel motivated, you're also not every day going to feel like you're a winner, or that some days you're going to just have self-doubt. It's just going to happen in your life. Like not every day will you wake up and just feel like top tier, like the best you ever. Like some days you're just going to feel like really nothing, like am I really that great, blah blah, like am I even succeeding in so and so. But it's more not allowing that to transform where you go from there. You just have to understand that you're having, okay, that's fine, and then continue as you normally would. If you let that drag you down and stop you doing whatever it is you want to do, then you just let the self-doubt win from there, really. Which, I mean, then you just don't get the goal you want to get to, in the same way that if you don't have discipline, you're not going to get to the goal you want to. Same thing. Self-doubt is basically discipline's like other side. Choose which one you want to listen to. You're technically in control of your brain, so if your brain tells you one thing, technically you can just tell it the other thing at the same time. So
I'm gonna clip that. I'm gonna clip that. Self-doubt's the other side of discipline. That's sick. It's like you could put a yin yang, like discipline in the white, self-doubt in the black, and boom.
Yeah, because even when you are disciplined, there's going to be part of your brain that's like, oh, like, should I be doing more, or is this right? And when you're feeling doubtful, there's a part of your brain that's also telling you, push through this. So it's just which side you want to lean into, and that's going to show you where you go in life.
Jeez, that's hard. That's sick.
I take a bath.
I'm definitely using that for myself. Rah. I'm listening to that like, I need to think like that. It's just the opposite.
Like everyone's gonna feel self-doubt, and like that's always going to happen to you. If you allow that to take over your entire existence, then where will you go? You'll just feel like shit every day, you know.
Yeah.
So it's you're in control of that emotion and how you let it affect you. If any emotion is natural, if you feel angry, upset, depressed about something, whatever it is, that's totally normal. It's how you then deal with that emotion. That's what will show you the way.
Yeah, very well said. I think that one's going to help a lot of people, you know, if they listen to that bit. That could just like it literally just did that for me. I'm not gonna lie. It just like, oh yeah, it is the opposite. Oh,
It's so easy. It's the same way we were saying about the pandemic. It's obviously totally understandable and easy to let yourself go. In the same way, it's so easy to let self-doubt and anxiety and other things like that just take over you. Like I've had it happen to me before, like, and it's so easy to let like depression and things like that just take over your entire mind space. And once it's done it, it's so difficult to ever see that there's light at the end. So as you see it coming, that's when you have to fight that emotion and understand how you're in control of your own life and your own brain. And yeah, just don't let it encapsulate your whole self.
That's a deep topic in and of itself, the whole brain and control and self-thing. But I guess could do that for another podcast.
That's like a 6-hour conversation.
In a completely different fashion now, my next question is one that I asked my sister as well, but it would be sick to get your opinion on it. So obviously in this Instagram era, there is a phenomenon that we all have probably encountered and is, I guess, synonymous with the fitness industry, which is the booty workouts. The booty workouts. Do they actually work? Because some people have the opinion that this plan right here is going to get you the bum of your dreams. But for others, they say it's au natural. So it's only a certain percentage of people that can get it and everyone else is pissed and it's a pipe dream, like trying to win the lottery or something of that nature. What's your opinion, Jade?
There's two things before I get into my actual opinion of this. One is that like arse workouts is a very like new thing. Like getting a big bum is very new. And the second thing kind of links with that is very trendy now to like body shapes for men and women come in and out of trends, and right now having a big ass is a trend and whatsoever. When I was younger, that was the trend. Like it was to be stick thin and, you know, anorexic basically, and everything is a trend. So the fact that people like young girls who like DM me asking like, oh, how can I grow my ass and blah blah, it kind of just makes me feel a bit sad, because one day that's not going to be a trend and you're chasing a trend right now, like to look a certain way when that's not a trend. Are you going to be happy with yourself? Maybe you will be, and that's great, but also maybe you won't be, and you've just done it for what all these people on the internet that think it's hot. If you don't feel good about yourself, then what's the point in chasing the trend? So that's the first thing.
Dangerous
but to
slope.
Actually, it's definitely a thing. I mean, I've basically done it. There are some progress pictures on my
let them know.
You can go and check them out, double tap. When I started training, I was so underweight, so skinny. Like I was flatter than an ironing board. I don't even know, but a piece of paper. Like there was just nothing at all. I could just slip through cracks in the floor. So and I've come to, you can look at the progress pictures. I have very wham thighs now. But yeah, it's definitely a thing. It's a thing. There's muscle. Your glutes have different muscles. I won't get into the science, but 3 different muscles there. You can grow them. It's a thing that occurs. There's no one plan. There isn't. This is a booty building plan, and it will work for every single person who has an arse. Like that, you know. I have some clients that their goal is, I want stronger glutes, etc. But they all have different plans, because some of them are quad dominant. Some of them have back pain when they do a certain type of squat, so we can't do that. You're like, there's a different thing for everyone. You can't just be like, this is the one way to do it, put on a booty band and you'll have a Kim K ass. Like, it's not going to go like that. So you can do it. There's ways to do it. But yeah, you have to be smart. And people also think that it's just going to be really simple. I can just go to the gym and do a hip thrust once a week and it'll be fine. Like, nah, you have to eat a bunch. You have to eat protein. You have to do all these other things.
Okay. No one talks about that part of it as much.
Nobody talks about that part.
No one talks about that
a lot
part
of girls
as much.
want to have this fat ass, but they're like, oh, but I only want to eat like 1,000 calories because like if I eat more than that, then I'll get fat. But I want a fat ass, and I'm like, okay, girl, it's not gonna happen. Okay, like I eat so much food. Yeah, like if you want to grow muscle in general, you can't be under eating by that much because it's just never gonna happen. But as the school system doesn't teach you anything about nutrition, nobody will ever know that. So
I mean, as I get older, as I get older and look back at school, the more I'm just like, wow, they were just dicking around. That was 18 years of that. And I'm looking at it like, wow, you didn't prepare us for shit.
No, I don't. What a waste of my time.
Yeah, but everyone's kind of like, yeah, take my kids to school. I guess for adults, it's like, I just need to get this kid out of the way, get them doing they're doing drawing, writing, arts and crafts. Yep. Have them over there while I get on with the things I need to do. Yeah.
Shake my head.
So conclusion from that is you can get the booty of your dreams. People out there, you can get the booty of your dreams, but it's a bit more of a nuanced process than just buying.
It depends on your actual body shape as well. People think that everyone can have a Kim K ass, which by the way, Kim K is plastic, so you can't have her ass unless you go and get surgery. But yeah, there's a lot of an obsession over like hip dips and stuff. That's like literally your bone structure. So please don't cry yourself to sleep about your bone structure. You can't change it. It's how you were born. So, you can get the booty of your dreams, but also you have to keep in mind that your bones and your organs and such are there. So they're not going to change.
So that could be really refreshing for some people and really crushing for others. Take it how you will, those listening.
You will.
So obviously you mentioned that you have quite a lot of clients that work with you. Is that something that's come through you creating content, or have you also had to become like a businesswoman and pitch and venture out there and really sell yourself in that lane too? What's that process been like for you?
I guess a mixture of both, to be fair. I would say maybe like 80% of my clients are from Instagram, just people who have found me on Instagram or such. There's another like 10% who are just people who have known me from like past jobs or such like that. But they've like kept up with my Instagram, and that's how we've kept in touch. And then there's another group of people which is just my business, like putting my business out there, because I work in a gym. We all have like our posters on the wall with our like business cards and stuff. So there's not so much like my Instagram is how I promote my business mainly. Like I don't go out and like put flyers around or whatever. Not really a thing that people do anymore. So yeah, I guess like having a business in the gym works, but alongside like having an Instagram business focused.
And that's really sick, because it breaks it removes the barriers to entry a bit more if you can get clients through there. And I guess it shows a lot of people that it's not as competitive as they may believe, if that's the case, that you can actually get clients through Instagram. And is that something that how long have you actually had clients for? Like
so I got qualified last December, so not that long. At the beginning of December. Then I quit my old job and said, bun this, and then within 5 days I had a job in a gym, and then I went from there. Then obviously lockdown, so went into lockdown like 2 weeks after I got that job, was in lockdown until April. So that, to be fair, I kind of utilized that time to build up clients, brought them into my garden, did some Zoom stuff. So
Okay.
it kind of helped me in a way. Well, at least I used it to help me. And then once we started open back up, it all went on from there.
That's sick. When I start, because I guess one of the main reasons I started this podcast actually was, obviously I explained before, like learning the experiences of other people in the creative field, and then also for me, like I'm in the process of finishing a novel about a London superhero, and I just like, I've always been thinking like, okay, when it's done, when the product's ready, you know, how am I gonna get it out to the masses? How am I gonna like get people interested in it? So when I hear people are actually making you know, connections that are effective, like as relationships and also business too, through social, it's always good to hear. Like, it gives me a jolt of like motivation, knowing that, okay, once I'm ready to release that, I could, you know, start that journey. So that's sick. Have you had any other kind of opportunities that have arisen from posting content, like anything wacky, like, I don't know, a sponsorship or something which was unexpected but has come out from you, like making TikTok videos or through Instagram or whatever?
I don't know. I mean, I've done a couple like shoots and stuff with some like fitness people, like just, you know, side like kind of modeling stuff, which is always good. That just comes from like posting. I don't know. I guess when I left TikTok, I was approached by a management group who are like one of the bigger management groups who do like most of the big TikTokers, like in London and such. And they approached me, and I think that was really what made me quit, because it was like, I either have to, that sounds so bad, doesn't it? So I'm not gonna do it. But it was the fact I either took that management and they would have got me sponsorships and blah blah, and then you get TikTok pays you to post now and then, but you'd get paid to do sponsorships and etc. I either take that or I don't, and I quit, because there was no, I'm not going to take the management, I'm just going to post myself, because at that point I had a following which was like, I wasn't just posting for myself. So I either had to take that management or I had to decide that it wasn't for me.
Wow. How did you boil down to just those two choices?
Because the only other choice, the third choice, would be not take the management and keep posting on TikTok. And that would make no sense, because I'd be posting on TikTok doing the same thing the management would have me doing, but without all the money and sponsorships. Like, that would just be
okay.
Yeah, why do that? I don't know, that just to me seemed like the most useless one. Like, I wasn't going to do that.
Yeah. What put you off about the management piece in that? This is really interesting, by the way, because that is quite sick as well, that someone approached you for that. But what put you off?
A few things. A is that my TikTok had become like not for me. Like, the stuff I was posting, like, I liked doing it, I didn't mind it, but I wasn't really enjoying it that much. I was just posting because people wanted me to, and etc. and stuff like that. And I knew that I kind of knew some of the people who were already managed by this company, and they do a lot of, you know, just ads as creators do, but they're for these hair straighteners that I don't actually ever use, but I think they're so cool. And it's like, I'm just not fake like that. I'm so real with people. I can't even lie. I'm so bad at lying. Like, I'm so real that even though, you know, I don't know all my however many followers, I don't want to bring something to them that I don't actually know anything about. And I don't want to start being someone I'm not, because that time in my life in TikTok, I was really like changing. Lots of things were going on in my life. I was like growing into someone, like, not different, but somebody else, I guess. And I felt like my TikTok was kind of not the old me, but it was just this person that I didn't really enjoy posting this stuff, and I didn't want to make my job, right? If I'd taken on that management, I would have had to spend more time on TikTok, doing it more, being that person on TikTok, and I just didn't want that life. It just isn't for me, to be honest. So yeah, I said no and left.
That's it. You really know yourself then to make
Yeah.
that decision, because a lot of people would feel pressurized to take it because it's so good. Like even my initial reaction was, oh, I'm surprised you didn't follow through with it, because it sounds...
I think the decision would have been to take it and to have gone forth with TikTok and made however much money or whatever and done it. But I didn't want to be that person, and I'm not money driven. So, using that, I would rather go to someone who that's their dream job and such. It's not.
Yeah, that can only that perspective is generally only really had by people who know really what they want. So what does, I know we said motivation doesn't exist earlier, but what does motivate you then? Because for lack of a better word.
I guess what drives me is just my own achievements, I guess. Every time I lift something heavy or I achieve something, I feel that's so good, I can't wait to do that again or bigger or better. My own success and my own happiness for me is the biggest drive, because that's what I'm always chasing. That's again why I turned down that TikTok thing, because I thought, honestly, being on this app is slowly starting to make me feel worse again, going back into that kind of cave. And for me, my happiness is very sacred, I guess. And that's what's the most important thing above anything else. So if it means I don't have a following anymore, or I don't have money, that's fine, as long as I feel good within myself. And TikTok wasn't the career that was gonna keep me at that level. Yeah.
And I may have missed it. I'm not sure if I did, but I may have. How do you assess yourself? What do you see success as then? The nuts and bolts.
Yeah, success is such a weird one as well, because again, could have taken that TikTok thing and maybe I would have been successful on TikTok, but I would have, for me, that would have been a facade, and it's not successful if it's not really me doing it. For me, if I feel proud of myself and I feel it's made me happy, then that's a success. Even if it's that I made dinner that was really tasty, that's a success. Success if you want to gas yourself enough. I don't, for me, it's not, I made $1,000 off of that job or whatever. That's not success to me. It's if I feel accomplished and I feel like I've made a difference in my life or someone else's, then that's pretty successful.
Intrinsic motivation, I think that's what it does for you internally is where you find the success. That's sick. I feel like when you know yourself a bit more, and also when you find that, then it's easy to, maybe this is just a more of a question than an assumption. I'm guessing you make decisions a lot quicker than the average person. Would that be true? Would you agree with that?
I don't really dwell on things that much. Again, bring it back to that TikTok management. I didn't spend 3 weeks sitting there oh, what should I do? Pros and cons list. I'm going crazy. I just thought about it 20 minutes. I was sat there and I was think about it for a bit, because dwelling on things for me is pretty a waste of my time. I don't really have a lot of time to be sitting concerned about these things. Let's just make the decision. I know what's right or wrong. If it is the wrong decision, then we'll just own it and we can just fix it after that. That's fine. But let's just make one, because sitting here and making neither is, I'm not going in any direction. I'm just being standstill.
I envy that mentality so much. My personality type is to struggle with tough questions a bit more. So I'm trying to do the thing that you do, which is boom, someone comes in, right, gonna make the decision, keep it cracking. And if you know yourself and know what you're intrinsically motivated by, it's a lot easier to just make those decisions. So, right, I'm not trying to be the TikTok person, so I'm not taking that opportunity. And some would even say that in and of itself is a success, because the the dark side of going into something like that, and kind of avoiding the dark side is you keep yourself and your sanity intact. I think I was listening to a Drake was I think he did a long interview with Rap Radar, I think about a couple years ago, and I listened to it recently, and one of the things they asked him was, what is your biggest success? And obviously he's got bare number ones, he's impacted culture, he's like the guy, bare countries, albums, classics, all of that shit. So you would have thought he'd say one of those things. And he responded saying the biggest success that he has is that he hasn't lost himself, and he's still with all the things that have happened in his life, he's still himself. And he even said he can go to dinner with his mom, and his mom is looking at him going, oh, that's still my son, you're still there, and all the shit that's happened since hasn't changed you. So yeah, it's a big thing. Even even now I'm kind of reflecting on it, that's
it was an opportunity to find myself and understand myself more than it was an opportunity to be successful on an app or whatever. And I definitely used to be the type of person who dwelled on things a lot and got very worried about, was I making the right or wrong decision? But at the end of the day, if you make the wrong decision, you make the wrong decision. It happens. It's going to happen. So sitting there wondering if it's going to happen, it's going to waste your time. Just make it, and if it's right or wrong, then just go from there. It's an opportunity to grow if you get it wrong, and if you get it right, then you'll just keep learning and keep going from there.
Philosophy of Jade, people.
Wisdom.
So something else that I was really curious about, because I saw it on your profile and I wanted to ask you about it, is what is the experience like of having an OnlyFans account?
I thought this was coming.
Here's the curveball. This is the curveball. This is the curveball.
Dun, dun, dun. Oh my goodness. The experience, is that what you asked?
Yeah. What's that actually like? Because obviously, especially as men, people can have, or men specifically as well, can have assumptions, ideas about what that is like, and obviously project them as well, which I think I've seen on your profile too in terms of comments. Obviously you said how you combat that, and I love that you just basically make them look like fools. But what is the overall experience of that like? Because you don't really hear people speak about what it is like, You
don't really. The only people who really ever spoken about it is the big people who have done it, basically porn stars. It's a lot. I am nothing like my social media, I don't think. I mean, my fitness one, but my personal account, and my friends agree with this, I'm absolutely just nothing like it. If you took one glance at my Instagram and say you came up with 5 words from that Instagram, I'm probably the complete opposite of all 5 of those. I don't know why. I don't know how that's occurred. But and around having an OnlyFans, there's a lot of things that people think, judgmental things or opinions on people or ideas about them, etc. And if you want to think that, that's totally fine. All my friends people who know me in person know that I'm none of those stereotypes, and I'm not any of the things that people think because I have one. If I was, that's fine too. Own it, babes, you got it. But personally, as a person, I'm just not like that. But other people having those assumptions of me, same way, the dealing with hate stuff, just doesn't affect me. If you want to assume that, there's different thoughts about me, that's fine. My friendship group and the people that know me, they know me, so that's fine. We've got it tight. We're good over here. You want to think what you want to think, that's not going to affect me. So I guess to be fair, the biggest thing with having it is what people think.
The judgment.
When I really made it and posted about it, like, you know, the amount I could feel people talking about me, like my ears were just red. I could just feel it in the zone.
Yeah.
And I heard a few, things around the block. But that's honestly none of my business. I'd rather be the bad bitch being talked about than the sad bitches talking. So that's you guys.
You pre-prepared that bar for the podcast, didn't you?
No, I prepared that for life. It's essential. Yeah, I'm not just out here. So what can I say? But yeah, there's a lot about that kind of thing and sex work in general. Like, there's a lot I can say about that. Because I actually saw, interestingly enough, like I think it was yesterday, a guy posted a poll being like, I think it was just, would you date someone with an OnlyFans? Like, it was just like a yes or no poll, and then a little captions box which was like, why yes or like why no. Low power mode. So it was like why yes or why no, and like it was like maybe 90% of people said no, and then he like responded to the comments, and it was loads of people being like, they don't have dignity, they don't have self-respect, like I can personally have anyone looking at my girl like that, blah blah, like all these different comments. And I just was looking at thinking, A, I'm pretty sure all of you are men. B, I'm pretty sure
of course
you watch porn. There's a 100, all of you have watched porn. So you're buying into, like, there's 100%. You're buying into a line of work, or feeding into a line of work which you don't respect the people who do it. It's like you love traveling and you love going on airplanes, but you think pilots have no respect and they shouldn't be doing that job. Or you love eating out at restaurants. You think waitresses and waiters are whores and shouldn't ever have that job, and you would never date anyone who is a waitress. Like, it, to me, it's just such a weird thought process to have, that you will buy into an industry that you don't respect, or you don't think people should do, but you're literally the reason why we do it, because of you. You buy into this industry. So
you guys are the customers. Yeah, it's a because I feel like with that line of thinking, it's more like a jealousy, entitlement kind of thing. Like, oh well, it's a way to put yourself above somebody else. And yes, it's because like there's loads of reasons people do it. One, they get paid bare money off, if we're being honest, males' inability to manage their hormones and wanting to look at some certain content. So that's obviously one of them. And then two, some people just find that that's what drives them. They're like, yeah, I like making this stuff. I get a benefit out of it.
Yeah, that's fine. It's just, it's that people, men basically have created this industry, and they demanded it. They are the demand. We are the supply, but you don't respect the people who supply that demand. It blows my mind that people can have that thought process. I'm like very much empathetic towards people, but like I just can't understand that mindset. It's just so weird to me. And I think sometimes it is kind of jealousy, like I'm making bag and everything, and like, what's that about? Sorry. I didn't mean to make so much money. I'm joking. So.
How do you feel about the experience so far? Like what how would you summarize it for yourself? Like discount, because obviously we've just spoken about the judgment, but including everything, like the whole package, what do you feel about it? Because just curious.
It's been pretty positive. I mean, like, to me, I already have a very big thoughts on men in general. Obviously men, but there's a big chunk of them that I just don't like them. They give me bad feelings. I've had many bad experiences with men in my own personal life. So for me, doing it and seeing very strange men and men that are rude and weird and etc. is nothing new to me. It's not like that wasn't like, oh god, that's crazy and that's like insane and I can't handle that, because I'm very used to that in my normal life. So for me, that wasn't really a challenge or anything. So it's really just being positives, and that's kind of like just reinstated for me that I do actually dislike men and they can all stay away from me. So I guess good experience. I'm still doing it, so it can't be going that badly.
Yeah, and you're plugging it with this podcast as well, so
what can I say?
Hopefully more peas land your way. So I guess going back to all the things that you're doing in general, what do you hope to achieve with your platform, like looking forwards into the, I guess not looking forwards into the future, but as you're doing what you're doing, is there anything that you hope to achieve through the discipline that you have?
I'm not really sure. I'm very bad at setting goals. Like, I'm very bad at being like, this is my goal, because I feel like it's too much pressure on myself if I set a goal, which is probably not the right way to think, but here we are. So yeah, I kind of just want to continuously achieve growth, like all the time, just to never be going backwards, like to always just be continually stepping up those stairs, whether it's my content or my business or anything like that. It's just to keep going as I'm going, and just continue to have like the, I guess, positive mindset that I try and carry.
So you don't necessarily assess like anything in particular then, like I want to be able to, like when you're assessing for growth, you're not, is that growth like, oh, I want to be able to do more in terms of the weight that I'm lifting in these exercises, or is it just a noticeable difference? Yeah, is it kind of like more loose then?
It's very loose, because I know that in myself, like I always want to be lifting more and I always want to be gaining more muscle, but that's like a general goal forever, and I know how to do that, and like I know I will continue to do that without thinking about it too much, right? Like I know how to get my numbers up on the deadlifts and etc. So like that's not a specific like every day I wake up like driven by that goal. That's kind of like a very vague goal for life. And as long as like I feel like I've grown, and I don't really have goals with like followers, like I want to reach this many followers, like I just don't give a flying fuck about that. Like I really don't care about numbers, likes. I don't even check, I don't even care. Like so I don't really have any goals like that. It's very kind of loose and just feeling that I'm always growing and always pushing myself.
You're in the process. Yeah. I get you. Just doing your thing, and
I'm just vibing out.
Yeah, whatever fruits come out of that. If not, you're just there still. It's like chiseling on like a rock to get a statue, like a big rock, and you're just there chiseling. And
I'm just doing my thing, and in 10 years time I'll still be doing my thing, and I'll look back and everyone will be shook. They'll be like, wow, this is crazy, because I'm going to be so consistent that just give me a few more years.
The universe just would have to give it to you. Just have to.
Like, going to. I mean, come on, how could you not, right? Like,
So we're coming towards the end of the podcast. Actually, I've got a couple more questions, and I guess one which I think would help everyone in general. And I don't know, for me, I think in the past or recently even, I've ignored or not really asked people as much of this question, because as someone who's making content, it seems not easy, it seems simple to me, but there's a lot of people that really want to in any space, not just in fitness but with whatever, want to start putting themselves out to the world, but just don't, and they just don't, they're just blocked. And I feel like what's good about conversations like this is sometimes, even though we're talking about the same topics, the way somebody says it sometimes, like the cadence, the delivery, the choice of words, can unlock it for someone in a different way, even if it's been talked about by someone else, even though the same topic's been talked about by someone else. So I ask you, what would you advise to somebody that is feeling like they want to do that, but isn't at the moment, what would you say to that person?
Strange you ask, because somebody literally DM'd me like a few days ago asking me how they should start a fitness account, and without judgment. And yeah, so I was like,
right.
I hadn't actually been asked that before, so I was like, interesting question. So I honestly, this kind of links to what we were saying about how I don't give a fuck about hate, but the only people that will judge you for putting yourself out there or doing what you want to do is people that you do not want around you in your life at all. The people, your close-knit people, will not judge you, and if they do, then they're not your close-knit people. They can get out. The people who are truly your people will either give you constructive criticism, support you, be there for you, help you with it, all of those things. If they're not doing one of those things, then bun them. They shouldn't be your friend, they shouldn't be your family, they shouldn't be anything to you. So if they're judging you, then it's not for them. You're not creating that content for them. The people you're creating the content for will support you through it. If they're judging you, then the content's not for them. They shouldn't be looking at it then. If they're still engaging with it, they're just giving you free clout. They're just promoting your business or whatever it is that you're making. So just use them. If they're being a dick about it, just use them, because they're being a cunt, so you might as well utilize them. Yeah. And the thing is as well, if you don't do it, in 20 years time, you might be like, God, I could have just done that and just done it. And what would you have lost? If you do it and you hate it, stop doing it. Don't do it. But if you do it and you find that you create a whole lifestyle from it and it's the best thing you've ever done, then God, you would have regretted not doing that. So there's absolutely nothing to lose, basically.
Yeah, I think the regret thing is so real, because I feel obviously because we're still young in the grand scheme of life and how long life has the potential to be, for us. Looking like 100 years, 120 years from what I hear.
I would just despise to have been like 100 and look back and be like, I wish I just lived my life. That's another reason why I don't let hate get to me, because say you're in a nursing home or care home and you just think, God, imagine all the things I could have done if I just didn't give a flying fuck what anyone said. You do not want to be on your deathbed and regretting shit you could have done. It's another reason why when I wake up and I have bad skin, I don't cry about it, because when I'm 90, it's not going to have mattered. I'd rather just live my life doing my thing, and when I'm 90, I'll be the one that's gassed. All of you who live because of other people's judgments, that you're not going to have lived.
There's going to be a 90-year-old Jade telling the nursing staff, I did my thing, you know. I did my thing in my 20s.
Like, your thing, babe. Let me tell you about all the stories I have. Because I really
sick, yeah. Guys, think about that. When you're old and you look back and you can't do shit, it's the most terrifying thought.
Crash if you are old and regret shit you haven't done. You're gonna feel like absolute shit if you do that. And you'll honestly never know. It's like what people say about like asking people out and stuff. Like, how will you ever know the answer unless you just do it? And if you don't get the answer you want or the opportunity you want or the success you desire, switch up the path, try something else, because life is far too short to have regrets when you're older.
Yeah, for real. And judging by how the last year and a bit just went like that, and like how that's probably just going to keep happening. Like even for me on a personal level, recently been talking with some of my friends and realizing that 10 years ago this year we started uni, and that feels like it was yesterday. And it's like, what? How did that 10 years just... But it's gone. So
and you're never going to get time back. That's gone. If you wasted it living your life on other people's judgments or standards or expectations, you're going to have wasted a lot of your time. And it's your life, you know, nobody else is living it. Nobody else is going to be that 90-year-old in the care home besides you. So sit with that one. I think always when you're feeling blocked, just sit with that, and that could help. So yeah, thanks for giving that to the viewers. So last question, is there anything coming up soon for you, like in terms of
your journey? Is there anything that people should look out for?
I don't know, there's nothing crazy, but something is always happening in my life. Some crazy shit is always occurring to me. And like I said, because I'm always growing, I'm always making moves. There's always stuff.
Go on.
So yeah, if you follow any of my socials, there's always shit happening to me, and I can barely keep up. So if anyone else can, then feel free. But yeah, I've always got more wisdom and knowledge to sprinkle around. So yeah.
Coming like a sage.
What can I say?
Yeah, if you want to shout out your socials, just so people who want to follow your journey can do that.
My fitness account is JadeC_fitness. My main account, if you're crazy, is Jade_Melody. And yeah, there's some links in bios and such. Yeah, that's really the only social media. If you want to go and look at my TikTok, don't. So there's that.
Cool. So yeah, I'll put those in the description of the video anyway on YouTube. So guys, if you want to check that out, then that is there. Jade, thank you so much for being on the podcast. It's been a really good one.
Had a good time.
Yeah, I feel like there's going to be a lot of like valuable stuff people get, like nuances that I think are important for people to hear as part of this convo. And yo, there's loads of clips that I can be taken out. Like, you've made my job hard as well, because I have to go through and be like, right, 1 minute there, 2 minutes there. Like there's a lot. But yeah, thank you for jumping on. It's been great. For everyone listening at home, thanks again for being part of this podcast. I hope you enjoy it. If you did, subscribe, like the thing. If you like it, just like it. If you like it, like it.
Take 1 second of your day, guys.
Yeah. So please do that. And if not, just like it anyway, because again, 1 second of your day. Yeah, I will catch you soon on another podcast with your boy Dami. Take care, everyone. Bye.